Melanin on melanin. The dude need to recharge with your velvet skin. Make him feel like 12 again. Soon as you
All right, testing. I think I just shot the last 2 minutes talking without my mic on. I was sitting here with a dead mic. So you guys aren't going to see that. But what happened was I just literally cut cut about 2 minutes of just talking and realized my mic wasn't on. So guess what? Hey, we're going to do this again. Welcome to all the Effing Sauces podcast. It's your boy Andy, a.k.a. Mr. PYO. Probably going to be changing that soon. But welcome to the podcast. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things that will help this thing move forward. And for those who have subscribed and commented and everything like that, definitely much appreciation to y'all. Also want to say kind of a big apology for having a break in content delivery. uh, a lot's gone on over the last month or so, but as I am learning, and honestly learning more about myself, doing this podcast thing than anything. I have, long story short, I've just spent a lot of time, like, I've had probably I recorded 3 more episodes that literally are still on the cutting floor just because I put too much thought and worry into what this is going to look like. And I mean, it's kind of bad. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like everybody tells you not to look at everybody's Instagram because they're just showing you the best parts of their life. That definitely ain't mine for sure. But it's, you look at other people's podcasts and you see like fancy intros, and you're worried about if your pauses are too long, you're saying too many uhs, ands, filler words, stuff like that, and just all kinds of things. And I need to stop that shit and not even worry about it, because if I had to be honest, from what I've seen, at least now that I've actually started paying more intense attention to a lot of the podcasts that I do like, follow, or even the ones that I don't, I realize that they're just people speaking in free flow. Camera angles change a little bit. I'm sure that they cut out some subjects and shit like that in order to make sure that they whatever, don't say anything that they don't want to say about anybody, whichever way that can go. And it's not always a bad thing. You just, especially with the way people run in some circles, not everybody needs to hear everything about everybody in every conversation. And I think that's okay. Um, but yeah, as you can see, I'm in a much different attire since the last time you've seen me. It is now officially fall in Portland in the Pacific Northwest. Last year we had a prolonged summer to where, I remember last Halloween, and we're here and getting closer to we're past this or into the second half of October right now. But I remember last year at Halloween, uh, I had taken Cheri to the river, and I had my shirt off on the beach, like, walking. So, like, it was hot, it was sunny. We're not. This is not what's happening right now. So, yeah, everything's like, the days are in the low 60s if we're lucky, low 40s at night for the temperature, and it is what it is. But one of the things I can say is that I do I I don't, not sweater weather, hoodie weather. I definitely love me some hoodie weather all day. Love me some hoodie weather. So, um, you guys are about to see a lot of this type of attire for the next probably 6+ months. Unless I have moved out of the country before then, which is 100% a possibility. Me and at least some of the folks within my circle, they definitely know that, June, June, that we need to be out of here. And, as much as I don't want to make this a political podcast, and it's not going to be, um, it's hard not to talk about politics sometimes, and particularly what's going on in current. And obviously, I say that, and particularly this, and as I sit here in this Monday evening or early evening, it's the weekend after we had the King's Day rally or protests across the country, and probably more. And you know, just at least so far, it's kind of scanning the news that the National Guard is going to come here to Portland for whatever the fuck reason. Excuse my language. Well, I shouldn't say that. I need to silent or bleep that for so that way my podcast can get monetized. And so all of it's so unnecessary. I'm just gonna be honest and say, to say I support what's going on or whatever, it's 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 not even close to being true. I So either way, yeah, by June, maybe July, I plan to be out of here. It's like it's either that or lead the resistance. Like, we're definitely at I'd say a point where history is going to be, uh, every day is a day where history is written. But I think, there are definitely periods of time, at least within history as we know it, where we get a chance to live where we see history being carved, or etched. And I think we're definitely in that period, and it's not even gonna we haven't even started. So yeah, so we'll see if I'm still here in June, and gonna be able to wear this. Who knows? Hopefully I'm in Ecuador or Ghana or Thailand, or I don't know, and I might be in just shorts and the flip flops. So I don't. We'll see. Either way, we're moving on. We're moving on. Where did my sheet go? I had a little cheater sheet so that way I could remember everything. Oh, I'm sitting on it. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, and so my goal is to try to not make this a political podcast. I'm probably gonna talk about politics in some different ways, just because of the crossover now, and especially the crossover in culture. Um Especially what's going on with comedy right now. And for myself and for those who know me, I'm huge, been a huge comedy fan for all my life. I've been a serial improv watcher. I go to small local shows at midnight. I go to see the big artists at arenas and everything in between. So like, um yeah, and I really feel, in particularly, I have a really unique take on it. I've uh especially most of the comics that are prominent today, I've followed since the beginning of their careers. um so yeah, we'll see if we can get into it. I've got it as the last thing on this page because I feel like there's so much more to talk about, and so much more that I want to talk about. And um we'll fucking get there. We will fucking get there. So one of the things that I actually really want to explain, um, because I've done it in some episodes that are still on the cutting floor that just haven't made it to YouTube. So what I'm gonna do is explain to you the audience and everybody else of what all the effing sauces means. And so what all the effing sauces means is, for me, if you're I'm a big foodie. It's one of the reasons I actually moved to Portland. Um, I've got a little pop-up going, Fia.pdx on Instagram with 2 eyes, named after my daughter. If you guys want to tap in and see a little bit, it's a little, I want to say it's on hiatus. I just want to really focus on this and social and trying to grow this right now. So I can only spread myself so thin. And so between that, trading, all the other things I've got going on in my life, yeah, anywho. But that being said, I'm a massive foodie. Love food, always been into it, always been searching for new cuisines, new chefs cooking stuff, new groups of chefs cooking stuff, all that stuff. But that being said, when I go out to eat, I eat a lot of new, like, ethnic places. I eat where brown people cook, or where brown people have been the origin story of that cuisine. And so, whether you pull up to a taco truck and there's a bar full of salsas and whatnot, or like Haitian food with pickles, or you go to an Indian spot and they set down that little carousel for all your papadums. Don't don't ask me what sauce I want. Give me all the effing sauces. And that is the way I approach everything. Like, I'm not trying to, I don't want to have like uh, a singular view or perspective, or even a singular experience at a place. Like, I want all of it. I want to feel everything. I want to taste everything. I want to experience everything. And so that's really my lens on life, and my lens in particularly on culture. Um, I've always really been a person who's pushed out to new cultures and pushed out to new, um, whether it's new music scenes, which you guys are going to find out about, or definitely new food scenarios. Because, hey, you gotta eat multiple times a day, so it's something you got to experience multiple times a day. Um, necessarily going out and hanging out and going to see a show, that's not something you have to do, or even gonna do on a daily basis. So, unless that's your professional world, and hopefully one day it is, but that's what it is. And so, yeah, that's kind of my view on life and culture. It's the way I travel. It's yeah, the way I've always just kind of operated within culture. And so I just want to be able to kind of spread that that energy, to be honest, with the rest of the world, and being able to show what I've discovered, kind of exploring that way. And so here I am. And so that's what all the effing sauces means. I've definitely had to explain to folks who have been telling them about the podcast in person. And so that's that. And so that's where the thought and idea of the podcast comes from. There'll probably be some times where I talk about food, but I don't know. I feel like we're in a city full of like hyper foodies, and particularly like where we're at, there's so many people already covering it and doing a great job. And hopefully I can link up with those folks one day. But I just, one of the epiphanies that I've had, excuse me if you heard that through the mic, my apologies. My first time. We'll see what happens on the cutting floor. But one of the epiphanies that I've had recently is that, in particularly trying to do this and do a lot of different things is that like I'm trying to collect, assess all of the elements that I guess that make like the perfect formula of success and whatever that is, whether it's my pop-up, this my social, whatever. I'm sitting here and waiting, and like sitting here. I'm like, okay, this person's doing this. That's what makes them successful. Let me see how I take this, and it's great because and it's great in a way because you do learn, you know, what's out there, what's possible, how people are doing it, how people are successful doing it. But also at the same time, it for me it leads to analysis paralysis, and so it's just like in this part of my life, I don't think I had really settled on just being like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is my own thing. It will be successful and whatever. Just doing my own thing. And I, I don't know. I really finally kind of settled into it. But to be honest, not too long ago, probably within the last week, where it's just like, okay, I really just need to do this to whatever I need to do this and it will form itself instead of being like, I'm going to form it and then deploy it. And then that's what it's going to be. And so I say all that as, yeah, just kind of a declaration of like one of the reasons why I've had some, not hesitation, but just, yeah, just probably some struggle on moving this forward at the speed that a lot of other people are moving this at. Um, and yeah, that's that, but no more. I'm just gonna roll. So, I know I have to just go pop my shit and y'all gonna like it because I've always been able to do that in every other realm. And that's also been the reality. So, we're gonna see. I know I'm gonna fall on my face in quite a few things, but you know what? I'd rather I'd rather figure this out than trying to, I don't know, do something else. So I don't know. That's kind of what's been going on in my life. Well, shouldn't say that. That hasn't what's been going on in my life. That's definitely part of like a little bit of a mental picture of what's been happening mentally lately. Let's see. Since I think one of the things that I mean, one of the big things that's been going on in my life, and that's kind of been a reality, is that long story short, I got a dog, and she's great. Her name is Cheri. She is the love of my life, and she's almost 8 in March, and in March, or this past March, she was diagnosed with lymphoma. I had picked it up. I say it was between stage 4 or stage 3 and stage 4 of when I got her in and got her diagnosed. And you know, me and my ex, her mom, got her on a chemo plan, a chemo protocol, and things were going well, and we're looking to go well. And the within the last month, during her last treatment, she uh, The cancer came back literally at the very last treatment of the end of her protocol. And so we started her on a new one, but she unfortunately doesn't have she doesn't have too many options. And we're working with current medication now, but she only has one more dose, and it's effective-ish right now, but we're kind of gonna see. So I've been planning, at least, trying to figure that out. I definitely want to take her back down to SoCal so that way she sees her mom, and she grew up with her littermate brother most of her life, with the exception of me and my ex splitting, and my ex being gracious enough to she came up here and visited during the summer and brought her brother, and you know stayed here and they had some time together, which was great. But I don't know, guys. I'm just really scared. Um, yeah, I'm really scared. So she, when I got her diagnosed, and just from the time between when I noticed a small nodule under her chin to the week and a half it took between going to the doctor, getting a whatever sample thing pulled from her, getting that tested, and then getting an appointment with uh, the the specialist. I saw how much in that period of time went, how fast it developed, and so yeah, right now my mind's been there a lot, and yeah, just trying to figure out what the next steps of her life look like. And that's been really tough. Um, and so she's eating good, she's living good, and she's as she's doing as a dog, as she's going about her daily life, she's actually doing quite well. She's doing well on walks. She's still, herself. She's uh, still swimming, still able to still pulling, 50-pound logs out the river. She's slowing down a little bit, but also it's kind of been a little bit difficult to tell, as she's been getting hit with radiation, uh, you know, every week or every other week. So it's like, of course, you're not going to be as strong as you're going through uh, chemotherapy. Any being isn't. And so, but that being said, she's done great considering. So hope for the best. I'm gonna keep supplementing her up. Please, you know, thoughts, prayers, if that's something you do. Definitely appreciate it all. Um, let's see what else. So I know I'd said, I was like, oh man, this year is the year I'm going to Cascade Equinox no matter what. And disclosure playing, blah 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 blah, and fail. I did not do that. I didn't do much, honestly. Like, if I had to be honest, like, I really I'd kind of put my festival eggs in that basket to do either that, or they kind of shifted in order to do the week before was the Best Day Ever Festival with Amine and Zach Fox and Smino, Mike, a few others. In true Portland fashion, the one day that I wanted to go, um, everything just kind of fell through and I didn't go. And that's kind of it. I really don't know what to say. It fell through for a lot of different reasons, and I just, yeah. And so far as my quote unquote festival season, me kind of like doing like a 3 day and doing that whole thing didn't happen this year. Um, I did, however, see Zach Fox. He's actually playing on Wednesday at Crystal Ballroom. All right, yeah, he's actually here in 2 days at Crystal Ballroom. I'm not gonna go see that. More on that in a minute. Um, but what I will say is that probably one, thank you to Zach Fox and Global Base for throwing probably one of the better afters that I've experienced here. Definitely the one with the most brown people. Appreciate that shit. Um, man, I appreciate it. But one of the cool things is because he was here for Best Day Ever, Global Base, which is a production company based out of here, and they do throw some really cool parties that are, I'd say, uh, more people of color oriented. Um, they throw Perrero parties, day parties, like all kinds of stuff. Anywho, they threw an afters at one of the afters locations here in Portland, uh, with Zach Fox as the headliner, but they threw it for free. You just had to register RSVP. So props to them. Props to Zach Fox for putting that on. Props to all of the other brown folks that I saw that night. That was cool to see y'all, especially. I was definitely in my feelings that night, so I definitely really appreciate that. Um, what else? Oh, I actually went to Kruder and Dorfmeister the night before. That was weird, and that's what I think I want to be. What I do want to talk about, like, I think, when I said, like, I was like, Zach Fox is playing at Crystal Ballroom, which is a concert venue here in Portland. Everybody ain't from here, so I gotta remember that. But it's quite a cool, physically, it's a cool space. It's a uh ballroom that I think it's like maybe on the third floor or something like that. But it's got a kind of big, kind of ornate stage, these really, really high ceilings. And the thing that's special about it is that the floor is um bouncy. Like, it's wooden, but it's bouncy, like it almost sounds like when you step on it, it almost sounds like you're on like a wrestling mat, or like how like WWF, or gosh damn, I'm giving my fucking age. Whatever the damn company's name with Vince McMahon and whatever. It sounds like one of those like TV wrestling mats. When you hear people run on them, it sounds like tuck, 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 tuck. And so when you dance on it, it kind of bounces, and it kind of provides this kind of like auditory plus feedback. It gives you feedback, right? Like, because it's pushing back against what you're stepping. So it is quite cool. Um, One of the bad things I can't say about it, it's owned by this company or brothers called McMinimans, and they have quite a few concert venues throughout. Actually, they have I'd probably say a monopoly, a relative monopoly on concert venues within the greater Portland area. It's not a bad thing. They're actually really dope concert venues. Troutdale, Edgefield is probably one of my favorite concert venues, uh, probably on the West Coast, period. Uh, Crystal Ballroom's really cool. There's definitely, they've got, I'd say maybe 10-ish other spots that they own, that they hold shows. But anyways, the thing about a show at McMenamin is, especially when they start having like DJs, them shows are over at 10:30 max, period. That's it. No, like just that type of energy, whatever. It's just like you're to end at 10:30 on a Wednesday, and it's like, turn up 30, bro. Like, what the fuck we doing? And so what I can say is that that's why I'm not seeing Zach Fox there. But when I went and saw K&D there, that was actually probably a more appropriate band for the location. I think because of totally understand the demographic. If you don't know who Kruder and Dorfmeister is, it's cool. But that being said, if you probably do know who Kruder and Dorfmeister is, you're probably over 35 for the most part. So hey, welcome to your crew. But I think to be honest, because of that demographic and not only the time and the environment, like the time of when it took place, like the show started at like 6 or 7. So like people were still like kind of like just getting off work mode, you know what I mean? And they carried that energy into there. So like it felt like a giant happy hour. That wasn't that wasn't that didn't that wasn't the experience that I wanted. And so I'm noticing a trend on this, and it's like one of these things where I think they're in particularly in Portland, and I'm definitely it's gonna sound bad, like the culture contrast is real. It's like there's this there's definitely an energy and desire and like uh effort in order to uh have people do these like culturally, I want to say relevant events, but definitely bring in like culturally relevant artists and do all these other things. But the crowd that shows up for them, the energy ain't matching as it would somewhere else. uh I don't know how else to really explain it. Like there's a entity that I just started following on Instagram, and I can't wait till I get to be deep in this piece. But they're called June Club, DJOON, and they're based out of Paris. They have a couple of nights on Sunday where it's like they have a Troy night, which is all about like old school and like straight crate digger hip hop. Um, I hopefully if I can physically figure out, or if I could figure out a way to post like a video on this video of like what they're doing. Like there's no phones on the floor at all, but not only that, the dance floor, 80% of it is not only moving, they're moving together and eccentrically. Like everybody there is there to fucking get down, like period. And they're doing it. And it is, and you know what's funny is that even though it's even Paris, 90% of the motherfuckers are darker than me. Love it. I cannot wait to get deep in that piece. Coming to you soon, hopefully in January. So, but that being said, that's what I mean by like, there's not that type of energy here. When it's like somewhere like where the artist is expecting people to dance or react or kind of do something else, it's like we just nobody's responding with the same energy that they expect, not in that realm. Now if it's a bass show, guess what, everybody's off the tits and whatever. Totally invalidates what I just said. um but what it does do is it makes it quite frustrating to be here and go and try to see these people and kind of know what that experience is like somewhere else. And if you kind of expect that same experience because you're seeing that artist, it's just not going to happen. Those things, the cultures don't mix. Like, um, definitely, I'll give a couple of examples that just happened recently. So, I saw Sid of the internet uh, sometime this last week during the week. She opened for this girl. Renee Rupp, maybe something like that. Renee Rupp. Anywho, so she opens up for her. I was only there literally to see Sid. Don't get me wrong, everybody else was there to see a headliner, and she's seems to be a very, very popular pop star. Like, I don't know, she's got like over 3 million followers on Instagram. I never even heard of her till I won these tickets, and I was like, oh, I was about to give them away till I saw Sid was opening for her. And I was like, holy shit, you gotta be kidding me! I will be there, one of the first in line, so that way I don't miss the opener. And I went, and artists mess with other artists for all of their other reasons. But when I was sitting there, like getting to the arena, because it was held at Moda, watching the crowd, like the crowd is, you know, definitely not a demographic that would be uh not only say interested, but even know Sid's music or know the internet's music or know what they're like. There was a group of people that, or a row of people that were sitting behind me, and because I was gifted, or they were gifted seats, they weren't great, but they weren't bad. But I was sitting down, I wasn't like in the pit. um but the folks sitting in the row behind me, probably a group of like 6 or 8 or something like that. Anyways, they were just like, oh, who's this girl Sid? Oh my god. And they just kind of like just talk the whole show, because they were like, I don't know who this person is, she's not relevant to me, so fuck it. And it's just like, and I know there's gonna be some people that would be like, oh well, just because I'm sure you've done the same, or folks are relevant, like folks are relevant. Relevancy to people is all respective of how that person is, in that life, received whatever. And I get it, but I took off and left for as soon as it was over. That was, I literally got up and went home. um and that's how I treated it. But it was just like, also at the same time, because the even though the rest of the crowd wasn't, I couldn't tell if the rest of the crowd felt exactly that same way. I'd say from a response scenario and kind of the way that the crowd moved, that wasn't Sid's crowd. That wasn't the opportunity. That, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't even for, and I say that as somebody who's definitely obviously a fan of Sid, but if she's on tour and trying to promote herself and and like whatever, it's cool that she's exposing herself to a new audience, but also at the same time, like K Tronada and Justice just toured here last night, or were just here last night, and Sam Gallantry opened for him. Something tells me that crowd would have been way, way more receptive, even though we're still in Portland, than and obviously due to K Tronada way more familiar with her music, because honestly, K Tronada built his fucking career off the internet. Yeah, I said it, and I'm a big fan, but that being said, that's a reality. So they would have been more familiar, and there would have been like, so far as if you're a fan or whatever, the experience would have been a lot different. It just would have. And I think that's just eternally true. And I've found it, unfortunately, that it's just been really weird and true here. Um so I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, it just makes it to where, like, when there's somebody who's super dope and has cultural relevancy, Zach Fox coming here Wednesday, just like, maybe another time in another format in another place. Oh, perfect example. Actually, I'm gonna talk about this, even though I wasn't there. Is probably one of the more, if you I feel like if you know Oakland, and then you know definitely kind of like your Portland PNW differences, you'll definitely understand this. So um somebody who's really carrying the torch for the Bay right now, or at least I'd say picking it up for the new generation, LaRussell. I'm a huge fan. Not, I'd probably say I'm more of a fan of what he's doing as an artist. I like his music, but like him, of like what it's very positive, good message. Like, he's doing a lot, and I think he's really, really great for the culture. I think he's really, really great for Oakland in particular. What I can't understand is why he would go to perform at a small art center in Beaverton, Oregon. Beaverton is the whitest of the whitest suburbs. Did I want to go see LaRussell? I was like, damn. He was like sitting here looking on the socials, like, pull up. I'm in Portland. I looked, I'm like, oh, you're in Beaverton. Nah, nah. There's gonna be some kid in the audience that's gonna get a little too liberal with the N-word, because they be like, I'm gonna sing it. And I'm, no. So, nah, didn't do it. Didn't do it. And just, yeah, just culturally, like, they aren't gonna produce the same vibe as, to be honest, literally any corner in Oakland at about 11 p.m. On a weekend night. So I didn't go. But that's what I mean by where it's like the culture and the like the the event sometimes don't match here, but there's such a, it's so weird. And like, honestly, it kind of matches like my life here, moving here. Like, you know, that's a whole nother story. I've already, anywho, moving on. So yeah, that's at least kind of what's been going on in Portland lately. I went to LA the other week, and I went. Uh, there was a cannabis event, and for some of you who don't, or for those who do know me previously, I worked in the industry, did some things, and uh, we're just, at least right now, that's as far as I'm going to talk about it. And so, yeah, I definitely used to move and shake. And so I went to Puffcon down in LA, which is an event held by Puffco, where yeah, they kind of have like art and definitely like vendors and music and a bunch of other stuff. Uh, that was a reason I went down there. I say, at least for my friend, that was one of the main reasons she slash we were there. But for me, my thing was is that upon doing that, like a AM radio, they had their 1 year anniversary, and that was that morning, and I got to experience that, which is something I'm extremely happy about. And I saw Sam Gallatry that night as well, and so I'd say from we'll start with Sam Gallatry because that's probably the easiest one to tackle. So Sam Gallatry was cool. He's kind of been somebody I've trying to see honestly since I've heard him before he's even 18. Like he's he's been that dude. Uh, he did a show at the Novo. It was cool. I think for myself, I expected it to because if you're not familiar with Sam Gallatry, he's kind of like a little bit like Chet Faker, to where he has a lot of his own produced. Yeah, there's a lot of his own produced work, and he's doing a lot of his own vocals as well. Partners with a bunch of folks, with a bunch of really, really dope folks. But he also DJs, also an amazing, amazing DJ. So depending on where you see him and what format, you can get kind of a mix of those things. And so I've seen Chet Faker twice, and I've seen him do a DJ set, and I've also seen him do a live performance. And so was, and what Sam did was a live performance, which was cool. I thought it would have flowed a little bit better, like, and it wasn't bad. It's just uh, probably a little bit slower pace than I wanted it to be, and that was cool. Like, just had a long day. That was like how we ended the day. We were at PuffCon earlier. Stayed for some of the music. I think one of the big takeaways, and sorry for the pause. I just really wanted to take a moment to really think of how deep I want to go into this because, you know, long story short, and particularly for uh, at least my background or previous background in cannabis, like, I definitely have participated in hundreds of events all throughout the country, definitely mainly on the West Coast, and of all different types of sizes, from little BS sessions that were in Adelanto where where I'm seeing tables get robbed, to literally high times festivals of all different sorts, every single Emerald Cup, um, you name it, MJ BizCon, all of the things, and I've been involved in all of the above, both in the background and vendor, etc. Anywho, so I know what the industry looks like. I know what it looks like, and I kind of know where it's going. And one of the things that it was really, from that perspective, it was just, I'll just say it was really interesting to see where a lot of people who I knew, who thought they were hot shit, and seeing where they're at now. And it's really interesting to see kind of where the cannabis consumer is. If I had to be honest, right now it kind of mirrors where the electronic music consumer is. It's all just built on internet hype, and that's really it. Like, just kind of like the OGs in the cut doing their thing still, but just like so far as kind of where it's being steered and going and whatnot, it's yeah, just kind of consumer driven, which kind of sucks. I mean, it's just higher prices and kind of a lot of lower I want to say lower quality, but yeah, quality is just not the same. One of the things that I think was unique was walking around seeing people with actual red eyes again, and I'm like, I didn't know people were smoking that much new pump shit. But hey, whatever, whatever you got to do you. Um, what I will say is that I did find it. Well, I don't know. I feel like the music people. I feel like the music participation has always been outside of like Emerald Cup and obviously Northern Nights and a few others, where I feel like the music participation within that scenario has always not been good. It's cool to like have these like dope artists, like, you know, like the night I was there, Alchemist was there, Alchemist and Friends, and a couple others, but like so far as like people like going to the stage and like actually being a part of the concert and like that bringing that kind of energy also didn't happen. Also didn't happen. So it's not something that's a Portland thing. It's a thing. So who knows? Um, I think that's also something to talk about. The last thing, at least within the LA trip to talk about was AM radio. Like, and so went to AM radio. And for those who are unfamiliar, I want to say I talked about my last episode. It might be in the episode that's on the cutting floor. If not, we're going to talk about it right now. So AM radio, um, I've been following them on YouTube for several months now. They throw coffee parties during the day. Mainly, they had a spot that was based out of Venice, but right now they are blowing the fuck up, and I couldn't be happier, prouder, more excited, etc. for them. This past weekend they were just in Austin. I think they're in Amsterdam next weekend. Like they're doing it, and so they had their 1 year anniversary in DTLA. Um, yeah, me and the homie went, and it was cool. Like started at 11. I think like the last DJ was on at like 2. Um, Plenty of breakfast vendors and drink vendors. Great weather. Um, Pretty good energy. Like I think as it got into the afternoon and like things started to pick up, and I think there's also kind of like that 1 year anniversary like energy as well. Um, and went quite well. Uh, I got there and had to be the fire starter, got the dance floor going. Nobody was doing it. So I had to go and pop some steps. But it was a great time. And so um, I really enjoyed it. I I really enjoyed it. I think, you know, as um, the word rave and has been well overused and abused, and not even to be honest, at this point, it's not even a real thing. uh, it just isn't. Like that plot's been lost a long time ago. Electronic music is pop culture now, which is something I still can't believe I'm saying or believing or living in, especially considering from when I started, it was definitely like the most niche pocket thing where and rebellious thing where, you know, cops are busting parties and all types of crazy shit. But anywho, um, I'm really happy for what they got going on. Like, if I had to be honest, I cannot remember who was on the decks that day. Um, what I do remember, it was kind of weird that seemed like the best DJ went on at the beginning, and then it just kind of uh deteriorated from there. But I mean, it is what it is. That's just my own opinion on the music and whatnot. And so, but it was a really really great time, and I love what they're doing now. They're doing merch and all types of other stuff. But since I don't know how they organize it, like AM radio is what it's called, but then like the dude who runs it, his name's Steve Cardigan, but also like by it's AM radios by the Put You On Club. Either way, they put you on as a thing that is growing, and I cannot be in the same space and definitely with somebody I respect, and they're, like I said, they're moving and doing and also keeping the same name. So folks, if you have any suggestions on what a new name for me that would still be able to express the same same thing, and shit, I just probably need to ask ChatGPT and it'll probably give me a pretty good answer. But I'll definitely take submissions from the excuse me, from the peanut gallery, that if y'all have any suggestions. But you know I'm not gonna keep progressing that name and progressing that scenario harder, as they're growing way way faster than me, and it's all congratulate. No hate, all congratulate. So definitely props to them. I will be going back. I can't wait. But one of the things that I did want to touch on, at least in that realm, or a couple of things, I think we'll be close to wrapping this up. But one of the things I want to talk about was, I stay off Spotify. Like, if you're on Spotify, you probably shouldn't be watching this podcast because there's nothing there that I'm going to be able to guide you to. But between SoundCloud and YouTube, so that like have these like long format mixes always available, and especially with like just a one clean track. Those stay pretty, probably the top two. I just pay for a subscription for YouTube Music so that way I can listen wherever. Anywho, but at least for myself, for being a follower and consistent consumer of AM radio videos and other similar videos, I see a lot of these different places, and even I've seen them here, of places saying, "Oh, coffee rave, starting at whatever, brunch rave, whatever." One, like I said, we've already talked about the word rave. That's not a rave. That's not a rave. You're at a very public place where, if you weren't throwing the party and people saw it, like probably a mom in her stroller would come in and get her matcha. Ain't a rave. Sorry. Um, but one of the things that I do want to kind of like point attention to is, A, we shouldn't be calling everything a rave. B, I mean, I think these coffee parties are great. I think they're a great alternative to being able to experience a part of the electronic music culture without having to be, leaving your house at 11:30 at night and being up until 6, and doing all the other things that come with a traditional night out. I think that's great. I also think that it doesn't necessarily represent the culture, and I definitely don't think I'm not going to say it's the evolution of where the culture goes, because for a lot of reasons. One, if you're at one of these places, like, there may be some OGs there, but the thing is that everybody can everybody who has a social media account, a smartphone, knows about most of these things. And I'll just say the people who are showing up there aren't going to be your traditional people who are going to be like, who would be at a actual quote unquote rave. Maybe they do, especially nowadays, but they're all newer to the scene. I'll say that much. Like, despite age, they're just newer. Like the culture and lifestyle is newer to those folks. Um, and this will be a good segue into my next thing, because one of the things, and that's why I said, when I got there, I when I got to the AM radio, I was like, I got on the dance floor and just started popping steps. And like, if you go to my YouTube, mistr.pyo, or excuse me, my Instagram, you'll see there's a part of the video where I'm on the dance floor, relatively by myself, just trying to get things going. I don't now. Normally, I'd be like, "Oh, it's just because people blah 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 blah," whatever. I don't think that was necessarily the case. One of the things that I have observed, both in person and from afar, in these coffee or early morning scenarios, is that I just don't think people are, their bodies aren't awake yet. Their bodies aren't there yet. You know what I mean? Like, unless they've gotten up and like stretched and like that's kind of their gear, like especially on a weekend, like even for I work out a lot and I know I'm moving slow on the weekend. I'm sitting here sipping coffee. I'm on the couch till like 10 o'clock. Like, I'm definitely having a lot slower morning. So sitting there and like, even though I've gotten ready, or I did get ready and I got myself there, dripped up, everything, it's popping steps, but it was also like the energy generation in order for me to do that at that time versus like 11:30 at night on a Friday is way different. Way different. Way different. And you see it in everybody else too, because I think everybody else is along the same line. It's great that there's coffee. It's great that there's, kind of breakfast things. It's great that there's um all those things. And trust what I'm saying is not exclusive to even AM radio. And actually, I'd probably even say, from my experience at AM radio, probably AM radio even being more of an exception, because people were, after a while, once it got full, it was jumping. It was proper jumping, like proper jumping. So they that wasn't the quite the issue there. But I have seen it like in other episodes, and I've seen it, in other places. It's just like, so I think, as we move on and we start calling, like, everybody's like, oh, coffee shop rave. No, it's coffee shop. Like, it's a coffee shop. It's a nice day part. It's a nice little start day part. Let's just call it that. Keep it moving. Keep it grooving. Um, the last thing I'm going to talk about is, just like I said, it is dancing. And, and it's not necessarily the fact that there's what people are doing or whatever. Let's just, so I think when people go to these parties, or they go to, uh, I'll just say, electronic event, I refuse to use 3-letter acronym that people are calling it. And like I said, most of the people who have started in this lifestyle culture, if they've been in it within the last, they started less than 8 years ago, have still never been to a rave. And yes, I said it. Um, I think this is a big deal And it goes a lot further than just saying like, oh, nobody's dancing, whatever, or like you need to dance or whatever. I think it's a big deal. First, like, sorry, I'm trying to gather it all to make it all sound really clean because like a lot's going on in the culture and space, and it's like it's all interconnected. There's this conversation that like, oh, DJs aren't playing music that the people dance, and I find that very hard to believe. Um, just kind of depends on what your style is and what really resonates with you. But like, honestly, if something resonates with you, you should just move your body in the way that you want. Actually, this is a great segue. And so, one of the things that I think, in particularly, that has been happening is that one, the people who have started going to these places aren't there to dance. They're there to either, you know, make a TikTok, make a reel, show their homies that they went to somewhere, I don't know, clout chase, all the things that have nothing to do that ever came from our culture at all, period. Two, because they're doing that, the people who would normally let loose or who would normally like, because that's the exact reason why this whole thing was created, is that like people who were not necessarily every accepted every day into society are welcome within the space to be whoever they are and do whatever they want, and all of the things. Henceforth, why literally house music and definitely the house scene was created by black and gays, because we couldn't go into nightclubs, regular nightclubs, without getting our asses kicked. Uh, and then having it being systematically supported by the police. And so the people who are there to dance and really let loose, there has been intimidation by like these folks of like of how they're gonna look on somebody else's TikTok or reel, like that they don't even ask to be in. You know what I mean? And it's like that never existed before. And so when you have a population of like you got, and the phone population is very easy to see. Look at any videos of any artist performing over the last 3-4 years. A sea of phones, sea of phones. You can't. Uh, they'll say, "Oh, you can't dance if you got your phone out, whatever." Yeah, that's cool. That is true. Here's the thing: it's not even the difference of if you have your phone out or not. The difference is like, what did you come there to do? Like, what did you go there to do? Period. Like, did you go there to sit there and get fucking wasted with your friends? Did you go there to hook up? Did you go there to whatever? Honestly, all those things sound better than just sitting there on your phone, because at least in those things, you're like at least socially mixing with people. Hopefully, you're doing it the right way and doing it constructively, and consents obeyed in all phases, and you don't get too whatever. But the thing is that you can't be there for those things if you're not present and you're sitting there trying to be like, wait, I gotta get this TikTok, or I got to get this reel, or I've got to get this thing. Like, you're just not. And so if you go to an event and 2/3 of your population is there to hold up their phone, and then the other third is a mix of like OGs and people who actually really want to be there and all this other stuff, it's just like the majority of the crowd ain't vibing. I will say, here in Portland, there's a very, very unique scenario that happens in that in the culture where Portland's just a really bass heavy scene. Like I think that's kind of, to be honest, where most of the kids are these days anyway, where they're just all about bass. And so, you know, people flying to the rail and doing rail shit and kind of like that whatever. It's not for me, but you know what? If you're doing that and enjoying the show, um, I can't complain, man. Fucking kill it. Like go and rock it out, man. But like, I feel like the culture is just now filled with people who are just trying to clout chase. And, where has that led to? It's why you're paying, $25-$30 a drink at a festival. It's why you're paying, you know, uh $500 for festival tickets. It's why you're paying for or why there's even like these VIP packages and all these things that are several $1,000s that most people can't afford, is because y'all made it popular through social media and definitely increased everybody else's uh capability of acquiring currency. And it's like, if we're gonna sit here and advertise to all these people who have money to do all this social shit, yeah, charge extra prices. Let's offer these other experiences, which is uniquely enough completely uh counter of what this culture was created out of. So I don't know. All I can say is that, like, uh I definitely show up to dance and to socialize. I found it really I do find it actually really difficult in order to, like, and I guess it's kind of a catch 22, right? Like, because I'm known for not taking a lot of content when I go out on purpose. Like, if I'm going out to something dope, like I go to Northern Nights most years. Over the last 10 years, I haven't pulled my phone out and exposed the lens. What? What? It's dope. It's probably one of the dopest things you'll ever experience, just in general, like from the people there, great acts, like the redwoods are amazing. But why do I need to sit there and record it for everybody else? There's hype videos all over the place. There's My boy JB does professional video of that all the time. He's getting paid to do it. It will be on the internet for everybody, and he's got way better equipment, and he's way more focused on just doing that. And not only that, there's probably 40 or 50 other people in his same vein who are doing the exact same thing. What do I need my iPhone for? So I don't know. Hopefully, I don't say that to be like a drag or whatever, but like, it is one of the things that I'm big on is, like, if you are able to recognize and and state the problem as it's seen, you can actually know where the solution lies in order to go get it. And that's just the way I see it. And so hopefully, I mean, I know the no phones thing in clubs is really starting to take off. I still see a lot of people disobeying it, and like, I think it's, I don't know, this little black square that's literally recording this right now is harder to get off of than crack. So I don't know what that's gonna mean, moving forward, but hopefully, you know, we start having folks that kind of show up there for what it's for, or I don't know, we start cycling out the people who aren't. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. But this has gone way longer than I wanted it to. Well, not longer than I wanted to. I just didn't get through as many topics as I thought I was going to get through. But that being said, it just gives me another opportunity to record another podcast. So if you stuck through, appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. Okay. Shit, I'm about to start cutting them. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time, and stay safe out there, folks. Especially right now. Please stay the fuck safe out there. Peace.